Hey there, Internet Land. This is Mr. Wiz coming at you with a Clash Royale video. This is just after the update here in June. So E Barbs got a buff, and I'm like, let's try some E Barbs. So put together a deck, got into some challenges, and to be honest, this is not a great deck or a great example of E Barbs, but these are two really close matches that I had back to back that I wanted to share with you. So let's hop into this first one. Just a hint over here. Great. Alright, so essentially a cycly start. Got some minions out there, both of a large armored and an unarmored variety. So it'll get worked over pretty good. Decide to go ahead and put a witch at the back, even though the baby dragon is a natural nemesis. So I don't play with witch very much. Know that Dark Knight clearly is a big buff, is everywhere in the meta now. Don't use rage very much, and you can see right here actually got some value out of the rage, more or less. Kind of like freeze works, where you just kind of trick somebody that time. Now they know you have rage, they're going to be looking for it, they're going to play more defensive, especially with E Barbs, because despite the buff on their damage, they're still relatively easy to counter when it comes to playing swarm units, which is still a big part of the meta. So getting them to the tower is a challenge, and I think using them as for counter pushes, things like that would be good, but I didn't really have that opportunity with a lot of what I've got going on here. And if you throw them down on like a hog rider and then they end up fireballing to back that up, that can get a lot of value out of that fireball, stuff like that. So my thought was some units that could take advantage of rage, as well as being able to clear some swarmy units. So thus the log, which I just cycled there to get some, free damage. And again, I haven't been able to do a lot since I got that first one down. And now here comes the graveyard. This catches me a little off guard. And so dealing with the graveyard poison finally coming out, which takes care of it pretty good. And so all in all, I'm not too unhappy, but 1,000 damage is still quite a bit to give up. I'm hopeful. I thought that was it, but a really well-timed tornado. Waited longer to do it, and I'd waited to rage till after the tornado. Maybe I would have gotten something there, or decided not to, but either way, it is what it was. So here we are. We got 30 seconds left in the match. Still feel like I'm in a commanding lead. Decided to throw the barbs in there to break through, follow them up. Poor timing on the log. I get tower damage, but had I waited a little bit more, I probably could have ended up getting the whole graveyard and then, or the tombstone, and then possibly been able to deal with that. Speaking of graveyard, gets me with one, tries to pull the witch out of the way. I thought that was pretty much going to be it, but witch still gets a shot or two there. And then we're still cycling those logs. So we're down to 135, and now he has taken the damage lead. You can see there, 31 damage. So playing essentially bridge spam at this point. He's letting the right lane go. I zap it once, get it under 100, and then I'm able to log with 4 left on my left tower. So 4 left. That is an important part, as you'll see coming up in this next one. Again, I end up playing the exact same deck. This ends up, I think I'm 3-1 at this point, or 3-2, and so end up playing again, figuring this will be the last one that I'll end up having. Different deck. A lot of these, control decks, and which is the worst thing you can come across, with barbarians. If they have a, control and some spamminess, tombstone really causes an issue. So I end up playing a little larger at the back than I would do. A fireball. He could have fireballed for a lot of value there. Instead, he goes with the log to back up his hog. So he log hogged on the right hand side, got a decent amount of damage. So I decide that we're converging. This would be the time. Of course, they go to the night and then throw out a tombstone and essentially end up negating all that elixir. Now I still have an elixir lead at this point. So, all in all, it did not turn out to be a bad trade, so to speak. I'm kind of waiting it out. I'm going to end up cycling this Mega Minion on the right-hand side, figuring he's going to push right-hand side, and here comes the Hog. So we go ahead and go all air here. Take a zap. No big deal if I can get something out to tank for those minions, but they outpace the Mega Minion. And then so the skeletons, I decided to try to get a little value out of some rage here. I don't play rage a lot. Rage in the witch and some skeletons might turn into a little something. Still have quite a bit of an elixir lead here. I'm not good at knowing this in the game. I can see it here because, I'm not blind. But decide that, now's maybe the time. Of course, tombstone, devastating. I don't know, that first skeleton there ends up like spawning right. It makes a big deal where, anyway, you can tell it did not go well. So that turns out to be a waste. I give up my elixir lead, and we're right now back into it, and I'm still down in terms of Princess Tower damage. So here we are, double elixir time. This deck doesn't particularly shine more at double elixir than others, other than, he can, with bigger cards, you can spam a little bit more. He gets a lot out of this one. It's not looking good for the home team at this point. Gets us down 345 now, where I still have yet to get under, 1900. So we decide now may be a time to push. I'm probably getting a little tilted and desperate. I got the rage. We do that, and does a little bit of work there, is able to get a lot of responses, witch still being alive, those skeletons helping out. I back up the witch with another witch, and our buddy the Dark Knight, we got 15 seconds left. We're going again. I'm just trying to get some damage in there and seeing if we can't keep them at bay. And he decides to log right back at me. And here we are in sudden death. Sorry, as we dimmed. We got another witch in the field coming up. Another Dark Knight. And as we feel like we're overwhelming some stuff here, then that log done correctly takes out the entire tombstone. And then Rage goes over with 4 left. 4 on the right Princess Tower. So back to back. The next match in Classic Challenge, I ended up losing. I think it was a pretty devastating loss, if I remember right. So, it was an 0-1 defeat. But either way, you can see, and that was the end of my challenge with that particular deck. So I'll be looking at some other stuff. I didn't even bother looking at like Royal API or any of those to figure out which, if this was like actually a good deck, I can tell you offhand, it's not great. Not that, that I can't play with, what I did with it is, not necessarily playing it to its ultimate, but at the same time, nothing particularly special about that one. I may keep trying the rage with them though, just to play around with the rage a little bit. Wished I had more than 5 deck spots, to be honest. Keep playing with stuff, but anyway, let me know what you're thinking about the E Barbs buff or some of the other buffs that are going on. Maybe some ideas for other things, but like I said, this is a beginning of the channel. Hopefully you enjoy it. Tell me what you like, tell me what I need to fix, and we will hopefully keep seeing each other on the internet. So, all right, deuces.